man. I look straight.
We're already laughing.
You know you're
here.
never gonna live this down.
I know.
I'm gonna
Joe,
watch this.
you can't think about the internet is it's there for the rest of your life, my life, and the rest of millennia. So.
In the old days, you used to take care of things. So I want to see if you still got your
I'm gonna
text,
hope I
man.
can. Joe Barry Carroll needs no introduction. He is, and this is this is a pretty good likeness. Yeah, it's a good likeness.
As bobblehead goes.
Yeah,
it's what it is.
It's number 22.
Yeah.
He is in town to Joe Barry Carroll Day. When you were growing up in Denver, did you ever think you'd have a Joe Barry Carroll Day?
When I was growing up in Denver, I was just happy that someone talked to me about a scholarship to college, man. But no, I didn't see this. I think most guys that come up and do certain things, they don't see it coming.
Yeah.
You're hopeful that something good's going to happen, but you don't know the details of it.
Yeah, and that is a true statement. Okay, how this show works, you can see those advertisers behind Joe's head. XXX, I think Joe's probably had a sandwich down there in his life. I don't know.
We have to.
Basham Reynolds and Hilton Garden Inn are sponsors of the show. And Joe, you have got a whirlwind weekend here, but and just with everything else that's going on. Purdue Indiana basketball is still 30-some years later is still a special game.
Yeah, I understood that my freshman year, the guys were an hour early to go to the arena to play. So it's always been there. From that point on, you kind of know something special is brewing here, and it's always been that way.
You know, in your game, and I think it was might have been your freshman year. I think it was when the national television game was on Sunday. I think it was one of the first time Purdue it was the old big NBC Sunday basketball game, and you and Kent Benson went at it, and that's where you started to make a name for yourself. But
my injuring Kent Benson.
Yeah, well, we were going to say that. Now, Kent has actually been on this show, and he still remembers you fondly for that.
Yeah.
But
well, I asked him how was he afterwards. I think he was trying to take a charge or something, and his back went out or something.
yeah, he had a back problem. But
Yeah.
and Lee Rose, who is obviously was your basketball coach for 2 of your years after Fred Schaus, and Lee is I know you made in contact. Lee, watching from Charlotte today, he was on our show a couple weeks ago. Talk about the fact 35 years ago, and again we're starting to use dates again, but that Big Ten,
okay.
I'll
be 56 years old this year.
Big Ten championship.
They can probably tell. I think all this gray hair is probably giving them an indication that we're not just last.
You can't
year.
still play?
Right. In my mind.
What about though? You win a big. Just talk about that transition from Fred Schaus. First time you met Lee Rose, and you knew had a sneaking suspicion he might try to run things through you. Probably a good strategy, but talk about how the relationship you two developed in your time with the opportunity to be working for Coach Lee Rose.
Well, Coach Schaus had resigned after that horrible 78 season.
Yeah.
And Coach Rose came in. They hired him right away. I don't know whether they had some anticipation of this. And he came down to Lexington to meet me. I was playing in one of the international touring teams. And just to touch bases with, he wanted to talk to all of his players, and he just told me, we're going to bring the ball to you. And he had that made clear to the other players that I was going to be the focal point of our offense anyway, and as well as the defense, because a lot of our defensive strategies funneled people toward me, and I'd either block the shot or interrupt the play kind of thing. And I responded. I mean, it was a lot of responsibility, but I think it was really good for my development. You know, made me have to put on my big boy pants.
Talk about though, and with that group, an eclectic group of individuals you played with, Brian Walker, Jerry Seestein, really terrific guards. And Lee didn't necessarily like those guys 6'5" and under, but those guys could play. But you also had an Arnett Hallman and a Drake Morris. This was a good group of basketball players.
Yeah, he got us going, man. He came in, and we all understood our roles, and I think that's what works best with most teams, whether it's athletically in corporate America, even a classroom. It's like everybody needs to know their roles in order to be productive, and he got us going.
What about and obviously in those days the classic? I mean, you look at 1979, it's a who's who of basketball greats, not only yourself, but you talk about the opportunity to play against Larry Bird. You did that a couple times, or 3 times, I think. But also Magic Johnson, one of the great games in Mackey Arena history.
Ever.
And I know I know you were supposed to get the ball, but Arnett did.
I'm okay with Arnett getting the ball because he put it through the net, and it was just.
What do you remember about that
incredible.
game? Looking at the back of that game, though, and again, Purdue playing #1 Michigan State,
Right.
50-50 the score. Purdue calls timeout with a handful of seconds to go, and Arnett Hallman hits the shot heard around the world for Purdue basketball fans.
And I don't know what Arnett said about that, but we were all just out of our minds when that ball went through that basket, and it was, it was good. It was just a great time because they were highly publicized, came to town as big gunslingers, and we were just. I think we were competitive at that time because, but we weren't knocking the ball off the cover anywhere. And it was just a great victory. The arena went crazy. Coach Rose we were looking at him like, who is that? Because he just released. He was so excited. He went out and led the players around the
He had
floor.
a victory lap. He went in the locker room and came back out. I don't think I'd ever been done
I
before.
stood from the tunnel and watched it because I was kind of, a little wound up. So I was
Oh, you didn't take the lap?
I didn't, but I was in the tunnel. I was looking at it, so I didn't know what to do. I was confused. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a great moment. And then you end up winning a share of the Big Ten championship that year in a very strange circumstance because it's Wes Matthews hits a 50-some foot shot to tie or beat Michigan State. Do you remember anything about the fact you go in the locker room, you guys beat Ohio State, but you find out all of a sudden you're Big Ten champions?
Right. Well, that followed by that we weren't invited to the tournament, which was kind of shocking. But we wanted to play, so we were going to go. Coach acted as though we had a choice. He was like, "Oh, well, you guys think about it, you talk about it, we try to figure it out." And we're like, "Man, we're going to play."
Yeah.
But it was, it was good. Unfortunately, we didn't win the last game, but we had a good tournament, so.
And you have the opportunity, obviously, the next year to lead Purdue to the Final Four.
I don't even have these pictures.
Where's
your library?
This is
by your library.
That was we have all kinds of good pictures.
Wow, you do.
And we have we have the one I want to get to before another game against Michigan State. And Kim, I want you to pull up the picture of Joe with his mom, and really one of the great moments in the history of Mackey Arena, at least the most emotional moment I think I've ever seen in that building, in the fact that this is Senior Day 1980, and Joe, take us through that, because there were some machinations that went on to get that done, some discussions to get the roses and all that, at least according to Lee Rose. How did you get that pulled off?
Well, we all remember things differently.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go against what Coach said when he was here.
Yeah.
But my memory of it was that we had I bought my mother a dozen roses before the game, and I handed them to Brian
Masterson, the manager. Yeah.
Yeah. And I asked him to put it behind the bench.
Yeah.
And then from there, I knew we had to win the game, just be outright winning, so that I could come off the floor at the end, because Coach Rose is, he's a basketball guy first and last. And so once that was taken care of and they were taking me off the floor, I walked across the middle. I put all this in this book. I mean, as all great book writers do, they plug their book. I have my book.
We haven't got that yet.
1,000 of them here.
Yeah.
You get plenty of them for everybody. But anyway, I talk about it in the book is that I don't even know. It's just something led me through that. I'm not really sure how I came to the design of that, but I stopped the game. I walked across the floor and I gave my mother the flowers, and my mother, she's so funny. She hugged me. We did the I love you thing, and then she started waving at the crowd, like it was her audience, because the Indiana and Purdue in particular, they were very good to my mother. My mother passed away last year in 11.
Yeah.
And when she came to town, it was just like an incredible thing for her, because the president's wife, Miss Hanson would come over and get her, and they go to the Ag Fish Fry, and they do all these things. And it was just like a hell of a run for her, for the few times a year she'd come to the games and everything. And this was just like a really big deal for her and for me and my family, because you can't see it, but there are other members of my family there. Yeah. So it was just a great time.
And you were 11 children?
I'm actually number 10 of 13.
10 of 13. So she is an all-timer just to be able to put up with 13 Carrolls.
She's fierce, man. She's fierce. My mother leads the parade. I mean, she was really, she's just...
So I think she was fully, the fact that she got the crowd going. All I remember, I never saw my dad cry in the entire life. When he talked about that moment, It's extremely emotional. Lee Rose is in tears. I have never. I mean, the whole place, for whatever reason, and for good reason, the whole place lost it. And you may not have even known that at the time, but it was. I've never seen the building. Such an outpouring of emotion was. And it
Well, I
was,
think they were kind of shocked at me because I had, for some reason when I was much younger, it was real important for me to be like quiet. And,
You didn't talk to the
reserved and
media.
Stuff like bad. not the best career move to not talk to the media. But anyway, they saw this and everybody felt it was something remarkable for me as well. But it really was, and
it was.
I'm happy. My mother talks about it. I mean, when she was very ill toward the end, we'd have these conversations, and that's what she remembered. I mean, because my mother, we went to the All-Star. I went to All-Star game. When you go to the NBA All-Star game, you bring your family
Yeah.
and stuff. And my mother's sitting up there, and she's like, "Yeah, this is nice, but have you ever been to the Hagfish Fry?" This kind of thing. She's sitting to Michael Jordan, Pat Riley, because they have all the teams that you play with, the East to West and all that. All the players are there and stuff.
Yeah.
And she's just like talking about Purdue, and I'm all like, "Mama, this is the NBA."
Yeah.
Yeah. But it won't be as loud as Mackey, I bet.
Yeah, and it was loud that day.
Yeah.
All right, and then we'll take a quick break in a minute. But I want to ask you one more question about the trip to the Final Four, and obviously a great run, one of the great wins for Purdue again in its history, beating Indiana and Lexington. In the game that you got into foul trouble, Ted Benson came in and did a very good job for you, but you came in and did a great job as well. But talk about that run. Talk about that run and what you remember from that. The opportunity to play in Indianapolis in the Final Four against UCLA.
Well, you aren't aware how big the Final Four is until you actually get there.
Yeah.
Because back then, this was before media was everywhere. You have these, international press and media all along the floor, and there's I want to say half the arena was half full for practice, for just a shoot around.
Yeah.
So it's a really big deal. I wish we could have done better. I mean, who knew Kiki Vandeweghe was there?
Brian Walker said a couple weeks ago when he was on the show, he said one of the things for you guys, and maybe for Brian because he was from Lebanon, the fact that you're playing only 60 miles away from home put a little. I mean, it wasn't like you're going off to LA to play in this thing. Did that have any impact in terms of?
No.
Not to you.
Not really. My tie crooked.
Yeah, no, your tie's good.
My
Your
tie's
tie's good. We're going to bring wardrobe in between. We're going to take a
Please.
2-minute break. This could go on all day, Joe, and we'll look forward to getting back to talk to Joe Barry Carroll in the second segment on Golden Black Live and the Joe Barry Carroll Show here in a couple minutes.
Yeah, right.
We'll be right back.
I think your place is.
Purdue students, find your home away from home with Basham Rentals. Trusted for 3 generations to provide quality student housing. We are now leasing for next year, so call us to learn about our apartments and townhomes, all located at the edge of campus. We're eager to share information on our many units, supported by 24-hour maintenance. Basham Rentals. Call us at 743-8367 or look for us online at mybashamrentals.com or boilerapartments.com. Going to the Purdue game? Stay at Hilton Garden Inn, West Lafayette at the Wabash Landing. Your family will love the well-appointed guest rooms, the pool, whirlpool, fitness center, the breakfast buffet, and the amazing Hilton Garden Inn staff. Located just 4 blocks from Purdue University, Hilton Garden Inn has long been the choice for Purdue fans. Call today for a reservation and make Hilton Garden Inn your #1 choice.
Good driver? We've got a discount for that and a lot more. See State Farm agent Trent Johnson to make sure you get all the discounts you deserve on your car insurance. Saving you money? It's just part of being there. Call or visit Trent today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you need to know what's happening in our community, it shouldn't matter what time of day it is or where you are. When you're on the go and need the latest news headlines and local weather forecast, make sure you have the WLFI app. Available for iOS and Android. Just go to WLFI.com on your smartphone web browser. Stay in the know with News 18 on the go and on our mobile app. Whenever and wherever you need to know news from where you live, it's available with the News 18 app.
I think I asked him more questions off the air than I did on. But Joe Barry Carroll, Alan Karpick here. Second segment, Golden Black Live. We now have an audience because our third segment folks are eagerly waiting to get under Stacy and Brian as well. Joe, and I know you've got other places to go. We'd like to have thought this is the only reason why you came to West Lafayette was to come on our show. But
I really did. This is it.
Yeah,
this was my destination. Those other people, I'm just trying not to hurt their feelings.
Let's talk about your, as I have told people, I was telling you off the air, I was a basketball manager for a couple of years when Joe was
the manager.
Junior and senior. People, very misunderstood guy because you made that mistake of not talking to the media. That was the first mistake. But secondly, that you were the funniest guy on the team. You were the E.F. Hutton of the group that, in a humorous way, that when you spoke, you captured the room, but people, you were funny. You weren't a prankster necessarily. You just had that dry sense of that educated economics major sense of humor. Is that true?
I hope there was something that I did in terms of the way I conducted myself that suggested to him. I mean, I know the coach enjoyed having his one of his top players not be all the way in trouble and skipping class and everything, because I was very serious minded when I was here. Well, I still am, but especially trying to get out of college. I wanted to graduate, and if I could have an NBA career, but graduation was really important to me.
Yeah. And economics was not a fluff major. You had to.
Not for me. It may be for somebody, but they beat me in the head, man. I mean, I just dived at the finish line to get over that. But I'm grateful for that because it has been helpful. I manage money for high net worth families now, and it really helps. It's a good foundation for that.
And I want to get to your book in a second. The question people always ask, which is again in my view, the great misunderstood, even Joe as a pro. When people talk, even you hear the Joe Barely Cares or any of that kind of stuff.
You're just going to go there, aren't you?
No, but I wanted to ask your sense of humor. Your sense of humor handles that well.
Let's keep that one going.
Well, you can get into any other nicknames.
No, but they really aren't nicknames. But I mean, it's good gossip. It's good some foolishness for sports. But I mean, only when they ignore the numbers. Unfortunately for me,
You did play in the NBA All-Star game a couple times.
I got, 12, 13,000 points in less than 10 years, that kind of. So, I mean, the numbers, they have to ignore the numbers if they want to poke fun at me. But really, the reality of it is that I probably should have done a better job with media relations, because sometimes you got to participate in the telling of your story.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for me, I played for a very poor team that was committed to being where they were, as they were trying to get by, as opposed to build something around a bit of the talent they had. It was kind of like playing for a halfway house sometimes. But it's hard. I mean, those ships have sailed. I just don't know. I mean, it's good for gossip. It's good for fun, maybe to kind of talk and gossip about. But I don't know what benefit we get with it, with the discussion about it. I mean, I'll talk to you about it. No. I'm just saying it's not a real.
Totally understood.
I mean, I don't know.
It is what it is.
No, go ahead.
But AJ Hammonds, who's now a guy that's a big guy, and you're going to have a chance to see him play tomorrow.
Segue. No, I'm kidding.
No,
don't do that to AJ.
But AJ is a guy that
he's young. Don't put that on the young.
I'm not putting that, but AJ is a guy that you're going to enjoy watching. Is a real talent as well. And I don't know if you've had a chance to see him play. How much you get a chance to see Purdue play? But what do you see of him as a player? Is my question.
I've not seen a lot of him play. We have some mutual friends.
I heard that.
His parents are friends with some of my friends and that kind of thing. His mother is friends with a friend of mine, kind of thing. So I hear things about him as a really good person around campus. It seems like he has a good reputation. I don't know a lot about him as a basketball player, but I think, it's a journey. And somewhere in there, he'll figure out how he wants to, travel his path. But I don't know. I wish I had something more profound.
Well,
to
if
say.
you're going to
and
give
if
some,
and if he's talking, if he asked me a question, I would answer it.
Yeah.
But I don't feel it's fair to young cats to be too judgmental, to be too hard on them, especially with old guys. Old guys tickle the hell out of me because I played with some of these guys and they talk as though they were very noble, and I'm like, no, you weren't. That wasn't you. You're making up history kind of thing. So I don't know if he or any other young player asked me a question, I'm sure there's something I could offer them, but I would not volunteer that because they got enough to deal with other than me meddling in their business.
but if he did ask you about advice for a 7-footer that has an NBA prospects, what would you tell him?
I would say, I'm gonna think about that because he may ask me that.
Yeah, so
And
I'm getting you ready.
I'm glad, get me ready, but I don't have a good answer for you right now because it would, I don't know. I wish him well. It's just an exciting time, man. You're in college and all that college represents, and the prospects of being in NBA and that whole life and what it happens for your family and everything. It's just a wonderful path to travel, regardless to the outcome or how high or low it is. It's just, you're beating out thousands of other people who, even at Purdue, he's already beat out thousands of people who didn't qualify for that scholarship. So he needs to get credit. Give the young man some credit.
Yeah. All right, Joe Barry bobblehead day. You're only signing 22, but you're giving away how many? 2,000 tomorrow. Again, that's a big deal, and it's going to, and obviously Purdue, Indiana. But we want to talk a little bit about the other side of Joe Barry Carroll, and that is obviously you're a painter.
I am.
And you've written a book with
have.
that. Talk about.
And I actually wrote it myself.
Well, that's
I
good.
had to get a couple of participles undangled and verbs rejoined.
Oh yeah, well that's my problem on a daily basis, so that's all right.
but
Growing
I
up
did.
in Words and Images,
Yes,
the name of the book.
it
Go ahead.
is. It's just it's memoirs.
Now,
It's autobiographical.
But if you would have just brought me one, we could have shown it.
I know, but look, you get to contribute to the charities.
Yes. Talk about how you got into art.
I
and
like
then,
this model. I'm using this model for my publishing activities to fund nonprofits, charities, kind of like Paul Newman does with
Yeah.
his salad dressings and everything. Because I make my money. There's other places. I make my money in the capital markets. This is kind of a not-for-profit venture.
But these
book.
paintings,
Yes.
what's in? I mean, your paintings,
They're all mine.
and they also tell the story
They're
of.
biographical. They have some. I can't paint anything that does. Is this? It always has to mean something to me. So painting my family, my friends. You and I are gonna take a picture before I leave, and I may find some place, some angle to cut that, some perspective to create. No, seriously.
Yeah, all right.
Because I'm fascinated to see you here as an adult and
Yeah,
everything.
I made it.
Who knew?
The jury's still out on that, though. If I made it, but go ahead.
Right. Yeah, and I even read your paper, your little column and everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, it always has to have meaning for me.
Yeah.
It's when it's something meaningful. My family, the culture I come up in is largely Southern and poor, and that kind of thing. But there's a lot of dignity in it. Unfortunately, this book won't be scandalous. There won't be a lot of scandal. Although I am opinionated.
Yeah, you
so
are.
You'll get enough in there in terms of my opinions about faith and religion and love and relationships and players and who they are and that type of thing. So it'll be fun. I hope a lot of people buy it because especially since the proceeds go to charities. Matter of fact, the books that I'm going to do today at the Black Culture Center are going to stay at the Culture Center for students who get into a little financial difficulty while they're here.
And have you been to the Black Cultural Center since they built a new facility?
Well, they hung the show.
So you've been there
40, I've got 40 pieces.
Okay,
on the
but so
wall
you've been
over
in.
there.
You've been. It's a great facility.
Yeah, and everyone should go. The show is up until the second week in March.
Oh, okay.
So go there and see it. You should. Have you been?
I have not.
Shame on you.
I know.
Don't
I
tell
did not
anybody.
do my homework.
Stop saying that.
All right.
Don't
Now,
just fix that.
well, but you had low expectations for me anyway.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No.
So
I tell everybody, point when the paper comes to me, I get your black and gold.
Yeah.
And you got sitting up there. You got your little face on the little byline.
Yeah, that's these guys over there that do.
Yeah.
But you said you'd only been painting for 2 years,
Yeah, I got the gift.
and you just discovered it when you were 37.
Well, I've always been a fan of I go to galleries, the Louvre, the Prado, all the great galleries and museums in the world. But a few years ago, I started doodling around because I wanted to understand perspective and space and composition and all that stuff. And so this is too much for you. You're not asking me all this.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna answer
keep
your question.
going. I'm listening.
But anyway, so at some point I got good enough to where I felt it was something I could share, and people, they've been impressed by it. And I was writing along the way. I was writing even before that because I was putting away some papers one day, and I was like, man, everybody's written about me except for me, so it's my turn. So I wrote, it's all memoir and biographical.
Are you a social media guy though? I didn't find any Twitter out there for you.
No, and not only that, I don't even have any scandal, man. I'm like most guys at this point in their career. I mean, what really gets a lot of press is they're in trouble. They got a paternity suit, or they're broke, or whatever. I don't got any of that working in my life. I got to create a scandal for myself.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Tear something up.
Yeah. Well, if you want to do that, you can come back.
Is that right?
You
want the
have
first
more
shot at
anytime. We don't really want. Actually, we don't. We try to stay away from too much scandal anyway. Luckily, at
No,
Purdue,
it's
there
good.
is.
People like gossip.
Now tomorrow, when you're in front of 14,000, it's not 14,123. In fact, I don't even know what it is. 14,800.
I tell people 20,000.
Okay,
I
but
like a big number.
I know, but what's that going to be like for you? Because you're going to get you're going to get a standing ovation, and people are going to adore you.
I was telling somebody earlier, I'm like, man, it's been such a while. It's been over like
I know.
30 years. And we're going like, yeah, Joe, how good.
No, I guarantee you get a standing ovation.
Dinosaurs back. yeah. I don't
So
know.
So are you emotionally prepared for that, or do you even care? You just think it's going to be exciting? Just be take it as it is.
Oh, no. I mean, it's a big deal. Brian Cardinal, he was in Atlanta, where I live now,
Yeah.
and at the Final Four, and he called me and said, Joe, I want to get together with you and talk. And when we sit down, we were having coffee. He said, I want to bring you back. And, we want to do something, honor you. I'm not exactly clear what we're doing, but it's something because they bought me a plane ticket.
Yeah.
So it must be serious because Purdue spent some money. I'm telling you,
Touche.
no, they never spend money. I was the only unpaid All-American when I got to the NBA. All these guys had already gotten a Mercedes. They were paid, and they were just in college. They hadn't even gotten a bonus check or anything.
When did you discover that, by the way? Did you discover
I was
that?
late. I was riding a bicycle when I went to Purdue. I didn't know any better. I got paid.
That had to be a seminal moment for you when you finally discovered that you missed out on that
I
train.
missed all that money, but then I was, at that time, I don't know.
You were
It's
young,
okay.
naive.
Hey, I caught up. It's okay.
Yeah.
it's okay.
All right, we have already.
But I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm grateful. I think Brian, I really appreciate him being whatever brought this to his mind to make it happen, and that Morgan agreed to it, and that they're going to do it, and I'm going to try to, not embarrass them.
You won't embarrass them.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're going to get you on again sometime. Next time you're in town or via phone, but we don't want to keep the people at the BCC waiting any
The
longer.
Purdue Black Culture Center. It'll confuse people if you said BCC.
Okay, Purdue Black
We want them
Culture
to know
Center.
where it
He's
is.
going to be
We're
there in
trying to-
about.
They're doing a joint effort with John Purdue Club.
And
Tell them to come.
Tom's a fast driver. If he's driving,
We
you
don't
so-
need to drive fast.
Okay.
They can't do it until I get there. It's not like they're going to start without me.
Well, then stay
It
a
would
few
just
more
be
minutes.
rude. It would just be rude to do that. But I'm saying we don't have to speed. I mean,
Okay.
it's
Well-
snow out there, man. He doesn't even have four-wheel drive. It's a university vehicle. I'm like, dude.
I think he's got.
No, not in the car we're in.
All right.
His family's car may be four-wheel
Yeah.
drive, but he's on company time now. He's not using his.
All right, I got you.
what you told
I
me.
got one out
That's
there if
what
you
you
want to
told
borrow,
me.
but it's
No.
not. I don't know if you could. I don't know
We're
if you
close
get
enough. Hell, I could walk, I guess, but I'm.
Yeah, you might be a little bit later if you did that. All right, Joe, a true honor and pleasure. I know you don't even like to hear those words associated with
No,
being
I
with
do.
you, but
I do.
But we're gonna take.
Hey, compliments are good.
All right.
Never pass up a chance to give somebody a compliment.
All right, there you go.
Like you, I'm complimenting you. I'm proud
know.
of you. Look at you.
You should have said I had a nice
starched
shirt.
your shirt and
I
everything.
know.
He's got a crease in it.
And you know what? And
T-shirts is used to what he used to wear.
and I actually ironed that myself this morning. It's really good.
Are you married?
I am married.
Don't tell anybody you iron your own shirts.
No, that's all right. That's all right. I'm comfortable with who I am. All right, we're going to take a 2-minute and 30-second break because we're going to take a picture. He said he wanted because I want that
I
painting.
want a picture.
And then Brian and Stacy are going to come on and we'll have some fun with them talking Purdue, Indiana basketball and of course a little
Beat the
football
red
too.
off of them.
Yeah, I think they got a chance tomorrow. So we'll look forward to that. Stay tuned for another couple minutes and we'll be back on Golden Black Live.